Yeah. Hey, this is Clay at CPAPmyway, CPAPmyway.com. Today we're here to discuss something that we deal with a lot, and that is truck drivers, sleep apnea, and CPAP. It's probably one of the largest customer bases we have. So our hope was to share some of the experience we have with you. This is by no means meant to be a one-size-fits-all deal because there's trucking companies that have different regulations. Sometimes states have different regulations. This is meant to be a little bit of just a culmination of the things we've learned from dealing with a lot of people all over the place. So hopefully you find it helpful. If you did, hit us with a thumbs up. We really appreciate that. Subscribe for more info as always. So our goals for this video are to help you understand why you're going down this path for sleep apnea as a truck driver. Understand some of the terminology that you're going to hear, understand your options as far as next steps, and then to understand a legit timeline. And that probably is the most important thing for you to understand for sure. And just to also let you know a little bit about me, my dad was a truck driver for like 30 years. I got all the nice long talks about how he had a million miles on his backside and all sorts of good stuff. A million safe miles on his backside. And there were some times where he was out of work. One time specifically where a back door on the trailer fell down, the spring broke, and it came down, and as he was putting his hand down to hop down from the truck, it smashed across his fingers, almost took him off. His wedding ring saved the fingers basically from being completely taken off. He was out of work for a while, and my family came darn near close to filing bankruptcy. So I understand a little bit about what it's like, when the main household income or household income in general goes down because you can't do your job. So hopefully maybe some of this will help with that. So I'll start off with why you're getting tested. We're going to put a link in the video to the FMCSA, Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration's Understanding Sleep Apnea deal, and they're going to talk a little bit about what is sleep apnea, some of the things to look for as far as finding out if somebody has sleep apnea, like daytime sleepiness, snoring, fatigue, things like that, options for being tested, things like that. So what the actual regulatory bodies are saying, we'll put a link to it here. And that's really the reason why, right? Because they put out some recommendations to the DOT clinics as to what they should look for when a person has symptoms of sleep apnea, and then what they could do about it. And there's just so much inherent liability there for the company, for the DOT clinician, that they're going to get you tested for sleep apnea if they're concerned at all, for sure. So it probably boils a lot down to liability, but there's also some recommendations that you should take a peek at here that'll kind of give you an early insight as to maybe if this is something you're going to deal with before you go to the DOT clinic. The next thing you're going to hear, the next thing I want to discuss is terminology. So a lot of times we have a question as to what is the sleep test, what is the CPAP compliance, what is a 30-day report, what is a 90-day report. And I think the order of operations may be the most important thing to discuss there, because if they suspect you might have sleep apnea, they're going to recommend you get tested for sleep apnea, or at least they're going to give you a form to take to your doctor so that your doctor can attest whether or not you have sleep apnea. And if that happens, more than likely you're going to have to get tested. If you do, that is a home sleep test or a polysomnography or a lab polysomnography. The sleep test is what determines if you have sleep apnea. So that's step number one. Once you get into compliance, 30-day report, 90-day report, those things, that's when you've been recommended to get on a CPAP by one of those doctors, and they want proof that you're using the CPAP. So we have people calling all the time, I need a 30-day test report, and they're thinking that they're going to be sleep tested for 30 days. That's not the case. We've never seen it be the case, to be honest. Almost always it's because they have tested positive for sleep apnea, a doctor has recommended CPAP, and now that DOT clinic wants to see a compliance report showing that you're using the CPAP and treating the sleep apnea. And so it's two very different things, and there's some terms obviously that make it a little bit confusing. But in my opinion, it boils down to two different things that you're going to hear as far as the terminology, and it's going to be your test or your compliance. And the compliance is after you've tested positive and you need to get on a CPAP. The next thing you should really think about are your options here, right? So full disclosure, we have a full line option. You can do we can coordinate your sleep test for you, help you with the CPAP compliance, start to finish, and it's a pretty quick process. We try to make it as easy and affordable as possible, but there are other options. You could set up a visit with a sleep doctor. If you're going to do that, make sure, especially as we go over in the timeline here, you get right on top of it, because a lot of times those specialists, are kind of backlogged on visits. So if you're going to go that route, make sure you tell them what's up. Hey, I am in a time crunch. I'm a truck driver. Can you get me in quicker? And a lot of times they're really willing to do it. I know a lot of the sleep clinics we work with really try to help truck drivers a lot. The other thing you can do is take that paperwork. A lot of times they're going to give you a piece of paper that can go to your doctor. Maybe your personal doctor knows enough about you that they can rule out the fact that you have sleep apnea without even doing a test, because of just your medical history and their knowledge of you as a patient. So that's the quickest and easiest route for sure. Third would be to use somebody like us, so a third party that can get you arranged a home sleep test and coordinate the CPAP and all of the compliance reports for you. All of those options are going to have a variance of timelines. On the timeline side, just for instance, if you're working with us, you're probably looking at from the time you take the test, get the results, if you need a CPAP then, get a CPAP, get at least a 30-day compliance report, you're probably looking at about 45 days. Most of our customers are getting a 90-day extension that we're seeing. So if you've waited halfway through your 90-day extension, you are now basically at the very end of the rope. Sometimes throughout the process, if you show them where you are in the process, the DOT clinician will give you an extension, a 30-day extension here, a 45-day extension to try to get some compliance on the CPAP. If you're going to see a doctor and they've got a 2 to 3 week wait list, you've already blown almost the first month of the extension you've got. And then if it's determined you have sleep apnea, it could take a little while to line things up, especially if you're going through your insurance, to make sure that you get a CPAP. And then it's going to take a little bit of time for you to become accustomed with the CPAP, maybe trying different masks. And then you still have to be compliant, which I'll throw a link to our compliance video up here as well. That way you can see what is compliance, because that's a whole nother topic. But starting early is a big deal, because we see a ton of people run out of time and then they're pulled off the road because their company won't let them drive, or because they literally their medical card expired. And if you're off the road, you're not making money. That doesn't do anybody any good. So start early. We see most people working with us getting it done in about a month and a half, completely start to finish. And that is, getting you the report you need to take to the DOT for CPAP compliance for those who test positive for sleep apnea. For those who don't test or test negative for sleep apnea, you're looking at a week or two as far as your timeline. So assume that you've got it, start early, and don't waste any time whatsoever getting going. So we hope you find this information helpful. This is meant to be kind of more of an open dialogue. If you have questions specifically about a scenario or anything, we would be more than happy to answer in the best of our ability and to give you some of the feedback we've had from other customers or experiences we've had with other customers. So comment below. We'd be more than happy to do what we can to answer anything or to get you pointed in the right direction. So once again, thank you for watching, and if you liked it, hit us with a thumbs up, subscribe if you can, and as always, comment with any questions or concerns. Thanks.